In this video, I'm going to cover why pain and discomfort is a necessary evil as an online coach and why you have to overcome it if you actually want to start hitting record months and actually making the money you want. Now, at this point, if you've been consuming like entrepreneur books and you've been scrolling through social media, if you have seen any of the gurus online, you would pretty much know by now this cliche idea that where pain and uncomfortability lies, there's growth, right? If you want to grow, you have to go through the pain. And then people give that analogy of the muscles, like, oh, you gotta go through pain in the gym, you gotta break down the muscles and tear it down if you want to grow it. And I do think that that is very true to a certain extent, but people don't really give like applicable examples of where people are avoiding discomfort and how to actually tangibly overcome it. So that's what we're going to cover. Now, just some quick avoidance examples. A couple of them that I can think of would be things like fear of going live on social media or fear of going on live on Instagram. Others would be fear of sales. You're scared of being rejected. You're scared of people saying no, and you're scared of people thinking that you're a salesman or you're too pushy. A few of mine, which I think would be very applicable for you guys, are things like fear of raising my prices. For some reason, it took me forever to raise the prices to where it should be, and I still don't even think it's half of where it should be, if I'm being completely honest. Like, it took me probably 6 months to raise it by 1,000 when I should have done it like within a week or two. So that's just an example of fear and avoidance typically comes from things that we're putting off. And one thing my coach taught me is that we're often not afraid necessarily of the future. We're afraid of what our brain is superimposing on the future. Like, we're scared of this made up idea and this made up story in our head that we have superimposed into the future. Like, okay, if I raise my prices, what if this happens? Or if I go on Instagram Live and I screw up or I mess up, what if this happens? So we basically superimpose this idea or this pretty much like worst case scenario most of the time. Like, we're very negative as human beings. It's like a survival mechanism, but it can also be to our detriment in a lot of circumstances because we're in a modern world and we don't really have to worry about saber-toothed tigers eating us. So the fact that we still have this primal brain basically superimposing this worst case scenario in our head, which is not even true, this is the thing that causes us to delay, to procrastinate, to not take action, to avoid basically taking action and taking that leap. But the thing is that you're not going to grow or get to the level that you want to be unless you take action on the things that scare you. Posting vulnerable content, going live on Instagram, raising your prices, getting into sales and getting beaten up every single day on the phone. These things, unfortunately, for the most part, are necessary in order to see results and see success online. Another great example is investing into coaching. Like, I didn't wake up one random morning and say, oh, I'm totally ready to spend 10 grand on the sales program, or I'm totally ready to drop $7,000 on this mindset program. I never wake up and think, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm totally confident and it's not scary at all. Like, I'd be lying to you. I'm not saying it's like scary, but you think like, okay, deep down, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I don't see my ROI from this program? But I'll tell you this firsthand, whether I spent $1,000 or $10,000, I always saw my money come back one way or another. I always learned something from these programs, and I always grew to the next level. So even though it was uncomfortable at first, even though it was uncomfortable and scary to invest money into a program, basically going into the unknown, I knew that I had faith that I'm going to make it work regardless. And another thing I thought about was, what is the hidden cost? What is the hidden pain that I would have to deal with if I did avoid this thing? If I didn't invest in the coaching, I would now have the pain and the punishment basically of learning all this stuff myself, of delaying my results and delaying the current income that I'm at for 3, 5, 10, 12 years. So you also have to consider the fact that you're going to have to sacrifice and lose something no matter what. If you invest into coaching, sure, you might lose 10K. By you not investing 10K, you're also losing on this valuable time that you could get to your result much faster. So I like to reframe the idea of pain and uncomfortability. Pain is not a punishment. Pain is proof that you are stepping into something bigger. pain is proof that you're on the right path to achieving greatness. And sure, you have to make sure that it's the right type of pain, because we don't want to just work ourselves into the grave by doing the wrong thing. But more times than not, you getting into uncomfortable scenarios in business, or getting into bigger rooms, or trying to get on stage, or whatever it is, if it's a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit daunting, it's probably the right decision. And it means you're on the right path, because if you are never going through pain and you are never going through uncomfortability, you're not growing. You're literally stalling. And if you're stalling, in my opinion, you're dying. So, quick little practical tip. If you guys are avoiding something, I want you to write down 2 to 3 things that you are either avoiding taking action on, or 3 big decisions that you know you have to take action on in order to grow. And I want you to commit to those things within the next 24 to 48 hours. And then remind yourself that not acting on this thing or not taking action on this thing actually ends up having a higher cost than just facing the problem head on. And then these small things, these small little action steps, they compound. The small wins are going to compound into bigger wins, and it makes it easier to build momentum. And I tell people, like, there really aren't any shortcuts to business, but if I had to create a shortcut, I would say that the shortcut is not avoiding pain or avoiding uncomfortability. The shortcut is chasing it head on, getting rid of it, and taking action on the bigger things.